you guys are going to St. Peter's. Like, I want you guys to attend private school. I got told I was going to repeat. I started to not pay attention. Just get reminded all the time, like, oh, you got all this potential.
Yeah.
As much as I don't like to admit it, I'm super competitive. And then I came across this barber school in New Zealand, in Auckland City. Even when I said I was going to do it, my parents were just like, what? Like,
Yeah.
you're going to go cut hair. But like right now, like every teen wants to cut hair. Like, it's like one of the coolest things to do. We didn't think about it at the time. We're just like joke around with each other. Like, oh man, we should move to Australia. Like, man, like the dream of like moving to Australia is going to be gone. I'm still the same guy. I'm still the same, like, I can't stay here for like in this one spot for too long.
If you reflect back on that and you were to tell yourself today, the younger Jay, what you kind of should have done back then, what would you have told him? Jay Fepuleai, thanks for joining me on Thirstee Coconut.
Nah, thank you for having me, cuz.
Appreciate you. If I could give a bit of a background for my Thirstee Coconut audience out there, you were born and raised in Aotearoa, New Zealand. And I'm keen to hear the story of how you got to Australia. Then you immigrated to Melbourne, Australia in 2016, where you then worked, I think, in Richmond as a barber under the handle of Phase of Jay. I think you're also quasi known as Phase of Jay still. You keep that handle. Then you met love in Melbourne, I think around about 2017, or maybe not long after you immigrated to Australia. And then I think COVID in Victoria was a very difficult time for all of us. I think during that time, it sort of sparked your entrepreneurial flair, which I imagine you already had, to then leave Victoria and shift your family across to Queensland. I think in 2023, you're now the owner and founder of 11 Barber Studios. And I think now you're expecting a fourth child. Have I got that right?
You're pretty much smack on.
Fantastic. So today I want to sort of sit here and kind of talk to you about your journey from immigrating from New Zealand and obviously moving across to Australia, and start with your younger years, kind of your early life, move through to, sort of high school and life beyond high school. And we can cover anything you want to cover in this show. So let's kick off with what your earlier years were like growing up in New Zealand.
Well, I guess, like, honestly, I had like the privilege, like growing up in New Zealand. Like, we got to every sport we wanted to play, we got to play everything that we wanted to do. Like, my parents were like really good in making sure that we got to go do whatever we wanted to do.
Yep.
So I feel like, especially looking back now, like I'm like extremely grateful that we got to go through that and we got to experience New Zealand like that. But with like primary school, I feel like I had primary school pretty easy. Like, it's same with my brother. Like, we won everything.
Yep.
Like, we were seen as like the cool kids per se. Not really that cool, but sporting wise, like we were like excelling really well during those times. Yeah, and then plus with like dad as well. Like, dad was just like, I don't care what you do, just play sport. That's all.
Because your dad
It's a bit-
is your dad is obviously Samoan and your mom is New Zealand heritage. And so he had a pretty big rugby career, didn't he? And so that's why you guys were effectively kind of had, I don't know,
They kind of just
pressure
feel molded into
right.
into that. Like, yeah, whether it be athletics, league, soccer, like we did it all. Like, every single day was something to do. As soon as school finished, it's like, okay, well, where are we going now? But it was a lot like that.
Yeah.
I guess he did have a big. It's funny. He had a big thing to do with it, but he was never there.
Yeah.
If you know what I mean. Like, it was always my mum making sure that
Right.
we were everywhere because he was always working, which is fair enough. But my mum was the one that was drop us off, but not even stay. Just drop us off.
Right.
Go take Matt to his one. Come back, get me. Then get Matt. Like, I honestly don't know how she did it, eh? Like, when I think back to, like, how we try dictate sport
Yes.
and, like, mold around work, I'm just, like, almost in awe a little bit jealous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So your dad was a big driver of you guys playing sport, but your mom was doing all of the
Like, you were the one doing it all, yeah.
Yes. Yeah. I see.
But he was the one who he lived it, you know? So
Yeah.
he experienced it. He obviously wanted us to experience it, as you do as a parent. Like,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
want
And
your
how did
kids
you go? I
to
mean, did you enjoy playing all the sports? I mean, you did very well. I imagine you must have enjoyed it at the same time.
like, parts of it, yes.
Mm.
Like, the competition side, like, I'm very competitive.
Yeah.
As much as I don't like to admit it, I'm super competitive.
Yep.
So I enjoyed that part. I just don't think I enjoyed the part of getting told I have to go do it,
Yes.
especially, like, from my dad. Like,
Yeah.
and then, like, you know, your dad's like this person, this big star, and, like, you're just expected to do the same.
Yeah.
But that just,
So he was fairly well known in the rugby
yeah.
because we're talking about rugby, right? Your dad
Oh, rugby league, like, he played
rugby
for
league.
Kiwis,
Yeah. Yeah.
and, like, he was just this huge during the 70s and 80s.
Yes.
This name that everyone knew. And, like, we didn't even get to see. It's funny because people tell you all these stories of your parents and of my dad,
Yeah.
and I'm like, man, when I was born, like, my dad could barely walk.
Yes.
You know, so everyone's
Yeah.
trying to get.
So you weren't
Like, I don't know that
you weren't part
guy.
of that, like.
I don't know that guy that you're
Yeah.
explaining to me
Yes.
because of all the injuries, everything that's transpired from that career.
Yeah.
I'm like, man, the spy you're talking to me about, I don't even know who that person is.
Wow.
I just know my dad. Like,
Yeah.
so
So
really,
interesting.
it was a real weird way to see it.
Yeah.
Like, now when I look back on it,
Yeah.
or when we had that pressure of playing sport,
Yep.
doing all of this, I'm just like looking at my dad like, well, where is that?
Right.
I don't see that.
You didn't have anything to compare to. You had the stories and the adoration for your dad.
Yeah. Everything that goes on with that.
Yeah.
And I understand it now that I'm older, but at that time,
When you're a
like,
kid.
mate, I don't see you doing any of that. Like,
I love to see you on the field.
yeah. But it's funny now, I can see footage of dad,
Right.
like, because of the internet, how everything is now.
Yeah.
When I do see videos of dad, I'm just like, yeah, it wasn't too bad.
Yeah. Yeah. I see. And so growing up in a sport environment, you did that through high school as well?
Yeah,
Was that mostly a focus for you? Was the sports side of thing? Like, did you have a focus? I mean, your mom might have cared about your academics as well.
Well, yeah, she did. Like,
Yeah.
we lived out west, but she was like, you guys are going to St. Peter's. Like, I want you guys to attend private school
Ah.
and follow that side.
Yeah.
You know? Like, she wasn't too interested in the sports side. You know,
Yes.
she wanted us to have a good education,
Yes.
go through it that sort of way. It's something to fall back on.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. So St. Peter's is the school that you ended up going to
Yeah.
in New Zealand. Whereabouts in New Zealand did you live? Did you live in Auckland?
Yeah, we lived in Auckland. We lived out west, like Blockhouse Bay,
Ah, yeah.
Newland,
Memories.
so that sort of area.
Yeah.
It's
I
not
think
too far.
when I moved to New Zealand, when my mom moved me from Samoa to New Zealand, we lived in Newland. I recently asked my mother, where did we live? And she said, oh, we moved to Newland, because I couldn't remember that.
Yeah.
But wow.
It's totally different now. Like,
Yeah.
looks totally different compared to what
What
I
in the
grew up with.
70s?
Yeah, or just even when I grew up, like the
Right.
bus station, just the train station now, it's all like underground, got like apartments all there, and it's just
Fully developed.
yeah, it's totally different. Like, which is good, but yeah, definitely not what it was when I was going
Make
there.
changes when we leave.
Yeah. As always, even my school, man. Like, my school was like, since it's a private school, like, all the funding's done through the fees.
Yes.
So essentially, you're paying for all the upgrades on the school, but the people before us paid for the building that we had, which was the year 7 and 8 building.
Yes.
And then when we left, we paid for the gym that was put at the school.
Yeah.
We're like, well, we didn't get to use that. No. So you're driving past, you're just like, bro, where was
How
that?
money
Like,
paid for that gym? You're not using.
get to use it. But,
I get it. So you did that. So you moved into private school from year 7. Is that where you graduated as well? Did you graduate?
I didn't even graduate. I think I think halfway through, I got told I was going to repeat, like, because
Okay.
I was barely
When was that? Year 8?
like
Year 9?
Form 5 in New Zealand.
Form 5 is the equivalent. So Form 5, Form 6. Is Form 6 the last year of high school, or is it
Form 7.
Form 7? So that would have been year 9
So it's like a,
equivalent.
yeah, over here in
Yeah.
Australia. Yeah, I think it's,
Oh, it's year 10. Sorry. So Form 6 would have been year 11. Form 7 is year 12. So
Yeah.
yeah, year 10, you were told you were
like,
going to.
you're probably not going to pass. Like, you're probably going to repeat.
How'd that make you feel?
Oh, it's just like, I think the bad part was that I didn't care.
Yeah.
Like, because I didn't apply myself at school
Yeah.
in those later years. Like, during the early years, like, I was in all the higher classes because, I don't know, I have a really good memory.
Yes.
So,
You were doing well without knowing.
I feel like it was easier because my memory was so good. But then when I started to not pay attention whatsoever,
That's when things
it was
started going a bit.
going down.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say hanging out with the wrong people because they weren't the wrong people.
Yeah.
We just had bad habits.
I like to call them free thinkers.
Yeah. We just didn't want to follow the
Didn't want to follow the the norm.
yeah.
what
Like, they
people
weren't, they honestly weren't bad people. Like,
Yeah.
they were all good. It's just we weren't interested in school. The weekend was more something to look forward to
Yes.
than school.
Yeah. So then, did you actually finish school in the end, or
No,
what
I
did you do? What did you decide to do?
I left, and then we used to like cut each other's hair like during school.
Okay.
Like, in the weekend, we would like muck around like on each other's hair, like me and like a few of my mates. But when I did eventually leave school, I still wanted to do something with hair.
Yes.
So I applied at Rodney Wayne in St. Luke's, like, because that was just all I knew they do hair.
Yeah.
I can go learn how to do hair there.
How'd you know about Rodney Wayne? Were they fairly significant?
Yeah, like, it was a big chain.
Yeah.
Yes, like in New Zealand.
Okay.
But I got there, and then you find out that it has nothing to do with men's hair. It's like all women's hair, shampooing, conditioning,
Okay.
coloring. So I
Did you care about that? Were you just keen to just get in there anyway, or
yeah, that's right. And I was like, well, you know what? At least I'm learning this. Like,
Yeah.
if I want to color someone's hair,
Yeah.
at least I can use this. But at the end of the day, I was like, this is not what
You eventually want to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think I only lasted there like 4 months.
Right. But
Yeah.
you learned something.
Yeah. Well, then I was just taking essentially what I learned, just a little bits, and like coloring the boys' hair, like when they wanted to do that,
Yeah.
the stuff, you know?
And how did your mom feel? I mean, how did your parents feel about you?
No, they were shattered.
Yeah.
It's like shattered. Like, just get reminded all the time, like, oh, you got all this potential.
Right.
Like, my dad would literally tell me, like, you don't have to work, just go play sport, and I will
Support that.
cover it all.
Right. Which is not a dream that you had in your
But I was just like, nah,
vision.
so I'm just there.
I'm not visioning myself being knocked around on the rugby field.
Yeah, and just,
Yeah.
I don't know, I guess got a big problem with being told, like,
Yeah.
be this, like, be that. Like,
I relate to that.
yeah.
I feel ya. I feel ya.
And I know it's a problem. Like, I know it's not a big problem, but I feel like it did withhold me from achieving a lot of things back then,
Yeah.
especially when I look back now. But as I see myself now, like, I do listen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Like,
Well, that's
still stubborn.
That's handy. You own a business now.
But like, kind of need to listen.
You
But
You got to listen now.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I think you call it a problem, but I think that's just, I mean, I have an issue with the school system, right? I got through school anyway, and I think I did pretty well. I'm not sure how, to be honest, because it was pretty tough. As a teenager, getting through high school is not an easy thing at all.
Yeah.
Because you're going through puberty, you have to listen to your parents, sort of put all these expectations on you as well as teachers. And then even if you find school fun, like, that's hard.
Yeah.
If you even enjoy going to school, you like it because your friends are there, I mostly went because my friends went to school.
Yeah.
And I don't even know how I even did fine to get through all of school.
Yeah.
It's like my folks weren't telling me that they wanted me to go to school. They had no expectations on me whatsoever. But of course, I was always being told to do other things. So I get it. Like, I don't think it's necessarily a problem. I just think you were thinking about other things. You weren't necessarily thinking about getting an education. You might have had your mind on other things that maybe were eventually going to lead you down the road to what you wanted to do ultimately.
Yeah.
But in saying that,
Also-
maybe the word problem comes into play when you're thinking about what you could have been doing.
Yeah. Like and you do. Like you think back like, oh, if I did do this, like
Right.
life would be like I'd be following this career and doing all of that. But then you come back to it in the end anyway, like, well, then you wouldn't have everything that you have now, and you wouldn't
100%.
appreciate it anyway. So
Even my sound technician, Zena, was nodding her head in agreement on that. And she's a teacher. So it's kind of contradicting what she studied for herself.
yeah. But
Okay.
still
So,
like that,
yeah, I get that. I get it. So then so you left and you went out on your own.
Yeah.
You tried running Wayne. You took some skills out of there. What did you do thereafter? Like, what did you do then?
And then
By that time, how old were you then?
I would have been like 17.
Okay, you hadn't even reached 18,
Nah. And then
and you were still living at home.
yeah, we were still living at home. And then I think I was 18. Or just before like I turned 18. I went and worked at Vodafone with my mum.
Okay,
She was like, well, if you're not gonna do anything, like
get a job.
you can come work with me. And I was like, okay. Which was all right because I just go with her to work and then come home with her
Yeah,
for work. But then even that, like, I don't even think I lasted that long either. I
right.
lasted like,
What are we talking? Less than a year here?
oh yeah, less than a year, easy.
Oh,
Yeah. Like,
Okay. What were you doing there?
I was doing like admin work, like just
Okay.
on the computers. I can't even remember what it was. It was literally like the same thing just over and over.
Yeah,
Just like
well,
click this, click that.
yeah. It's not you at all. Yeah.
But it was good. Like you get to the end of the week and you're like, oh man, I got paid this much. There's money looking back on it now, like that age group
Yeah.
and like that time, and you're like, man, I got $400
Yeah.
at the end of this week. Like I don't have to do anything else.
Yes.
It's like
Yeah.
you anything.
It's a lot. These monies. You go from earning no money to $400 a week.
Yeah.
And what was that feeling like for you when you earned your first paycheck and you're like, oh,
You're like, well,
yeah.
back then, all you thought about was like, okay, I can buy drinks, I can buy smoke,
Yes.
and I can buy food. Like
Yeah.
$400 is more than enough to cover all of that.
Yeah. Did you feel a sense of independence? I know when I got my first job and I started earning money, going from, like when I used to do newspapers, which was like $35 a route.
Yeah.
And I worked at McDonald's and I earned my first, whatever it was, $350, $450. Mate, I felt so rich.
Yeah, you're on top of the world. And
Pizza.
so you can just leave the house. Like you don't need to ask, like, can I have some money so I can go do this? It's like, nah, I can just go. Like
Yes, I felt super independent as
Yeah.
well. Okay.
either when I worked for my dad as well, like when he was managing the courier companies. Like when I was like
Right.
13, 14, every school holidays, I'd go drive the forklifts, like at
Right.
his career code. Totally should not have done that. Like I
Yeah.
was not like even the other people, because it was like the depot was split into two companies, and I'd see like the other company, and they'll be looking at me like,
What
yeah,
if
that
it's
guy's not
young
be on
kid
board.
doing-
It's like,
Don't you have to have a forklift license to drive forklift?
yeah, well, you needed one. I didn't have one, but
Yeah.
it was just making everything easier for everyone.
Yeah.
But I was like forklifting these huge like containers,
Pellets and
yeah, with pallets, and I just look back on it now like,
what?
and I had no right doing that. Like
Could have killed myself if I didn't get proper training.
just doing like wheelies, like spinning around in the depot when no one's looking.
Yeah.
So solid.
Were you getting paid?
Yeah, it was just cash, like
Oh,
back then, but
yeah.
it was like $200 and something.
Gee.
Like if I worked the whole week, like it was a full 40 hours. I was like, yeah, $280.
Sounds like you were rolling a dough even from the
Life was
age of 13.
just like, yeah, I don't like not working almost. Like, and I feel like it got instilled in me that early, like from my dad, like, cause that's all I knew. My dad,
Yes.
he just work, come home,
Yeah.
and then I'll see him in the morning and he's off again. Like,
And if your dad wasn't working, or sorry, if you weren't working because your dad, you saw your dad working all the time,
Yeah.
then your mom would have been
My mum working as well.
no choice.
Like both of them were working full-time jobs,
Yep.
but then you'd still always see them like most of the time as well.
Yes.
So it's as
Yeah. Didn't feel like an escape at all.
nah.
So, so then you worked at Vodafone, not for very long, with your mom. What did you do after that?
And then I did absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
Like I literally just stay home, or I'd just be out with my mates. Like
Yep.
I'd literally go stay there for like a week,
Yeah.
come home, not even come home, or just come home, get clothes,
Yeah.
and then go again. Like,
Yeah.
I don't even know how we got through, man. Like no one was working. Like half of them were still in school,
Right.
but we'd just be you're just hanging out, so you don't care.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Still living with your
Yeah.
friends were living with their parents as well, and obviously,
yeah, we all had like just the way the houses are set up in New Zealand.
yeah.
Like the garage is always separate,
Right.
so you'll just have like these huge like 8-bedroom, like 8 beds set up in like a garage,
Right.
and like everyone
Crazy.
hanging out in there.
Yeah.
You just go out on the weekend, go to parties, not doing much at all,
Yeah.
just that.
Yeah. And what were you
know-
thinking back then? Like, were you thinking, okay, this is going to be me? Did you, at any point, did you ever think, God, I've got to get out of here? Or was it mostly, kind of you were waiting for your parents to just eventually kind of kick you out or tell you you've got to get on with your life?
Yeah,
Was any of that going through your mind?
no, because I was so comfortable in it. Like I was so
Right.
comfortable in like that environment of just chilling,
Coasting.
just getting by. Like I wouldn't even say getting by, because we always had food. We always
Yeah.
had something to do.
You weren't struggling for anything that you didn't.
No.
Yeah.
And then unfortunately,
What about your hair? Who was doing your hair?
who?
Were you guys cutting your own hair at the time? Were you experimenting on cuts and stuff like that? Or
Nah, like everyone was so like pretentious about their hair.
right.
Like you're still going to the barber. Like
Yeah.
I remember it was in Fepuleai, like just all the barbers there, and it was only like $10. So you could scrounge up $10,
Yeah.
go get a haircut. Gotcha. Everyone was just so pretentious about their hair. I wasn't practicing on
Yeah.
no one,
Right.
but they went on for like months.
Yeah.
Like just that life of just doing nothing, just going out. And it just got to a point where my mum was like, you either do something, or like you can just get out like altogether.
Exactly how I said it. So you were just kind of okay living the way you were living. And then your mother eventually just said, okay, drew the line for you and said, this is where it's at.
Yeah. Like you find a job or something to study, or you can get out.
Right.
And then I came across this barber school in New Zealand, in Auckland City. And I didn't know that there was just a soul barbering course.
Right.
And then even when I applied for it had been there for like 15 years, and I was just like, man, I'd never even heard of it.
You weren't aware. Yeah.
So I was like, I looked it up. It was like 3 months long. I could get all the funding like paid for. And I was like, oh, 3 months. I can keep my mum quiet for 3 months if I
Yeah.
just go do this.
Yes.
So I went and did that.
Did
And
it?
then it was like so cool. Like it was in the terms of like learning barbering, like it probably wasn't like at the highest level, but you got like your basics,
Yep.
And then when we went through that, even half of those guys, like I'm still friends with half of those guys because they're still barbers as well.
Yes.
But then once that 3 months ended, I wouldn't say I liked it, but I was just like, okay, well, I can just continue doing this. Like this will just keep me almost in the house. Like,
Yep.
So I just went and got a job like 10 minutes down the road. Like,
Yep.
Just cutting hair, barely cutting hair.
Right.
But it eventually transpired to, oh, maybe I do like this. Like,
Yeah.
maybe I do like, I feel like I could get both sides of like hanging out with people and then almost making money at the same time.
Yeah.
Like, because I was just hanging out with my mates. They were the only ones that would let me
Yes.
cut their hair. I got to hang out with my mates all day
Yep.
and then get paid for all that.
So you worked for someone. You
Yeah, it
found,
was just
and you weren't even aware that barber was even like being a barber was a specific skill, and that you could train to be a barber.
yeah. Like
When
even when I said I was gonna do it, my parents were just like, "What? Like
yeah,
you're gonna go cut hair?" But what even back then it was like, "What? You're a guy and you're gonna go?"
right, because that would have been so far removed from their thinking that you would be doing anything like that.
Yeah, or even just like guys in general. Like
Yeah,
back then, it
a
was
lot of trade that was for men.
yeah, like that wasn't seen
But
as like
barbers were kind of almost not. Well, I mean, I don't know if underground is the right term to use, but they were always there, as you said, but just not as.
not mainstream as like what it is now. Like right now, like every teen wants to cut hair. Yeah, like, it's like one of the coolest things to do.
It's exactly right.
Sounds like, bro, when I started, it was not cool. Like it wasn't amongst our little community, but not on the level of letting everyone know I'm cutting hair.
Yeah.
That's definitely not what it was,
Yes,
which is beautiful to see now, though.
I agree.
Now everyone loves their local barber. Loves,
Cherish
yeah.
people cherish their hair. I don't know if you knew that. Well, you guys cherished your hair when you were
there,
growing
right?
up.
It's every single week, you know.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
I remember times like where I wouldn't even leave in the weekend if I didn't get a haircut. You know?
Right.
But like, no, I can't go. I didn't get my haircut, but I just stay home. But
That's so crazy. And then so you decided to work in a salon.
yeah,
Were you there a while?
no.
You weren't there a while either?
I'm still the same guy. I'm still the same. Like I can't stay here for like in this one spot for too long. You know.
What do you think is the reason for that?
I
Itchy pants.
yeah. I think back then it was just I didn't like the same.
Mhm.
Like, and to be honest, like the shops that I did start off at, like they were just it was just dead. Like
Right.
I can't see this going.
You couldn't see.
This is
Yeah.
going anywhere. You know.
Yeah.
And even my mom would just be like, she'd like drive past and see the shop and be like, the heck, like, what are you doing working there? You know? I was lucky enough that I don't know how this transpired, but the barber school that I went to, one of my friends, he actually started working at the barber shop that the barber school owned. They had like two other ones. And he was working at one, and then one of the guys had left. So they were down a barber, and he was like, oh man, can you come fill in like a day or two just to cover this guy? I was like, oh yeah, you know what? Like I'll come. And then I went, and then they were like, oh, you should just stay. Like you should just stay working here. Yeah, I was in the city. And it was the one shop that when I actually got there, because it was just me.
Yeah.
There was no one else around, so I was just doing what I wanted to do,
Yeah.
cutting hair, open the shop, cut hair, go home, and I didn't even have to see anyone. Like there was no boss because the boss was at the school,
Yeah.
and I was like, I like
It's crazy. Yeah. Somebody gave you full independence of their shop.
yeah.
Were you booking clients at the same time? Like who was
just
paying?
It was just walk-ins. Like
Yeah.
the shop was already established. Like, yeah. So we're in the heart of the city on Albert Street, but it was busy anyway.
But who brought the clients in?
No, it was just
They were-
off the street.
Oh, right. Okay. Yeah. That's crazy.
Back then, you know, like bookings weren't a thing.
Yeah. You
It
just
was all
wait in
walk-ins.
if you were available.
Yeah.
And what would happen if you were there by yourself and you had a whole line of people? Did that ever happen?
Yeah, all the time. And
Right.
in that age of like barbering,
Yeah.
that was just the age of like even if you have 6 barbers in the shop, like I remember like Westside Barbers cutting crew in like Henderson.
Mm-hmm.
And there's like 6 barbers there, and there's like 30 people in there.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're just like, man, I'm gonna be in this spot
Just you.
for like 6 hours straight. Just
Wow.
nothing. Just cutting hair.
Mm.
But in that shop, yeah, it was the same. You'd have like 5 people in there, and you're just like, man, this is my next like 2.5 hours gone.
Yes.
Just cutting.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it became the norm anyway.
Yeah. So then, you did that. By that time, how old were you? You'd turned 18 by that time?
Yeah,
I mean, you
I
got
was
through a
like-
few jobs by then.
I was like 19, I think.
19 years old.
Yeah. And then but with the barber school, there was a tutor who got like
Mhm.
he couldn't come in and teach for the day.
Yep.
So they rang me and they were just like, "Oh, you're gonna have to close the shop and you're gonna have to come down and help out with the students for a day." And I was like, "Oh, okay, well I can do that." But
Right.
and honestly, at this point, I'd only been cutting hair for like 5 months, 5 or 6 months after
And you're
school.
and you're already going
And
in
then it's like, "Oh, can you come help?" Like,
tutor.
and I was like, "Yeah, okay, cool, I'll do that." And then I helped out that first day. Went back to the shop like where I was cutting hair the next day, and then at the school, all the students were like, "Oh, where's Jay?"
Yeah.
I thought he would be helping. Like, nah, he's not a tutor. He was just filling in for that day.
Right.
And then I think it was like the next week, the students were like, "Oh, can you just get Jay like to come down?" Like, I think I was just a lot more relatable than
Yeah.
the other tutors that were there. They were just a lot older.
Yeah. You're in demand.
Yeah.
And was that getting traction, like in terms of students that were going to that tutor and
Oh man, the
or
barber school was packed. Like you
Right.
had 20 rolling students every 3 months,
wow.
and it was like that for even up until the point I got there, like 2 decades.
Yeah.
But it was full time like operation, like fully like government funded operation,
Yep.
and it was huge.
Yeah.
But it was like the only place that you could go to that was solely
Yep.
barbering.
For barbering.
Yeah,
What year was that by that time? You were 18? Oh,
I
19, you'd said?
I graduated from the barber school, I think in 2010,
Ah, 2010.
I think,
Yep.
or 09. And then yeah, and then I started I think as the weeks went on, the students were like, "Oh, can you just get Jay to like come in and be here full time?"
Yeah.
And then they just chucked me on Mondays and Tuesdays by the next few.
How were you? Did you like that? Did you enjoy that?
I actually did like it.
Yeah.
I feel like looking back now, it was totally the wrong time. Like I had no right teaching people how to cut hair at that time
Right.
because I was new to the industry myself.
Right.
But it was good. It was
Yeah.
fun. You meet so many people.
Yes.
I think that's
It
helpful.
taught people skills that they wouldn't have otherwise had.
Yeah, no, but it was just
You just didn't feel.
I just didn't
Did
feel
you
like
feel
unqualified.
like you had
to-
imposter syndrome? Because that's
100%.
yeah.
Yeah, 100%. Oh, like I was good, like at that age, but definitely not on the scale of I should be.
Where you thought you should have been.
Yeah, I was worthy of
Right.
teaching people how to cut hair.
It's interesting.
But I feel like if anything, I learned more teaching people
Yep.
than I did like
Hands-on
classes.
instead of theory.
Yeah,
Yeah. I think that's where everybody learns better, I think.
yeah.
Oh, that's super interesting. So you graduated, and then I don't know if your parents then kind of reviewed your contracts of staying home.
No, like I still got to stay home and like
Yeah.
but they weren't like
Pressure
stoked
you out.
that I
Oh,
was
right.
like
Yeah.
cutting hair. But
Yeah.
I,
Were you talking to them about this whole thing, or did you share your experience, or did they not? Were they not interested? You just kept going along.
nah, like my mom would always be like my greatest ear. Like she always
Love that.
would listen. Like
Yeah.
it didn't matter what I did. Like
Yeah.
she'd still be as much as she was threatening to like kick me out. Like she would kick me out. But then I bet you she'd still be like ringing me every day. Like,
Yeah.
"Are you alright? Like, what are you doing?" But nah, they weren't too. I wouldn't say like they weren't ecstatic that
Yeah.
I was still cutting hair.
Yeah.
I think if anything, I could feel like they were probably hoping that, oh, Jay's just going to drop out of something again
And eventually,
and
find
eventually
something.
go find something else.
Yeah.
But I think it wasn't until like I got qualified
Mm-hmm.
as a teacher
Yep.
and then became a full-time teacher. And my parents were just like, "Wait, what? Like you're a full-time teacher?"
Yep.
And then when my mum came into the school, she was just like,
Oh.
"What? Like you teach here?" I'm like, "Yeah." And she was just like, and I think that's when she was like, oh, "Okay, this is
Yeah.
this is
Becoming a
what
little
you
bit
were
more-
supposed to be doing," like, and it's almost like she found like a sense of relief, like,
Yeah.
oh, Jay found something that he loves, and I can see him doing this.
And it feels like that landed on your lap just because you said yes to everything that you were asked.
Yes,
You never said no to anything. You never said, oh, because like when you said yes to, sort of coming in and filling in to teach,
Yeah.
the first thing that came into my mind was, "Well, you better give me a contract."
Yeah, yeah.
But you were
But
just
no,
like,
just like I'll do it. Like, yeah, sweet.
"I love that."
But it wasn't. Yeah, I feel like I don't know, as lost as at some points in my life as I was, I feel like stuff always would just land on my lap, like, and just be like, "Oh, you want to come do this?" Like,
Yes.
and I think it was just because I knew so many people just through whether it be
Your circles.
athletics, sports, school. Like, I just had so many like
Networks.
branches.
It
Yeah,
already established a network of connections
yeah.
that no matter what you did, you just had someone in your
And
space
some
on it.
doing something.
Yeah.
And I was never home, so I was always with different groups of like people. I feel like as lost at some points in my life
Yeah.
that I was, something would always just be like
Yeah.
pop up for me.
Do you ever reflect back on that and go, gee, I'm really grateful that that happened? Because, like, you mentioned you weren't lost. I don't know if you were lost, but you were neither thinking about your future or you didn't really have that in your frame of mind. Do you reflect back and kind of go, if it weren't for those circles of people,
Oh,
maybe this would not be my life today?
100%. Like the way I look at life now is just totally different to the way I used to look at it then. Like even just with every single day, with anything that happens, I'm just like, okay, well, this is happening for
A reason.
a reason, you know?
Yeah.
And you got to kind of take it as nor negative or positive
Yeah.
because you don't know the end result of why this thing has happened until you get there anyway. And I think it's just a way, oh, not a way, but a lot less weighted way to look at life because you just think like everything is just like pounding you, like because that's life anyway. You feel like everything's against you all the time just because stuff doesn't flow
I was
the
going
way
to
you
say,
want to.
at that age, I mean, by that point, you were almost 20. And a lot of young people's have their lives really structured out, don't they? Like a lot of young people's lives are structured out. I was talking to somebody else about this topic, and like I was in a previous interview, I was saying, you go from so much structure in your life to then all of a sudden you have no structure, and you're like, what? This all this freedom
Yeah.
you're given, it's like currency you've never had before, and now suddenly the world is literally your oyster.
Yeah.
um, I'm about to ask you a question about, you going into your 20s. But if you reflect back on that and you were to tell yourself today, the younger Jay, what kind of should have done back then, what would you have told him?
Oh man, so many things. But I don't know. I feel like I feel like I did so many things that I shouldn't have done,
Right.
but it didn't. If I hadn't have done it, then all the steps wouldn't have got
Fallen in
where
place. Yeah.
where I needed to be at that time
Yeah.
to get me to what transpired from that anyway.
Yep.
Because that time, like my early 20s, it was like a good time. Like as chaotic and as like I didn't see what was going to happen. It was a good time. I feel like I learned a lot about myself like during that time, especially with like with work. So, like I feel like I knew very early on that I could just work.
Yes.
Like yes, I didn't like those jobs before,
Yeah.
but like I can just work.
Yeah.
Even like and that's just carried on to now. Like I could work 7 days,
Yeah.
16 hours a day if that's what happens.
So are you saying you know in the back of your mind, if I had to work, I can,
Yeah.
right? I can be a workhorse if I wanted to, but at the moment, it's not something. There's nothing right now that I feel like I need to
Yeah.
put all of my energy and passion into until you graduated after barber school.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like it's just it was just such a weird time. Like I feel like something was trying to tell me that you should do this,
Yeah.
but I don't know, just the way my what my habits were set up. I was just like, nah, I'm not gonna do that.
Yeah.
And I could almost see it. Like I could see it from very early on. If I go do this, I can see what's gonna happen. But I'd rather.
Did you have mentors? Or, I mean, is that partly why? Because you maybe you didn't have mentors, or that wasn't even anything that was entering your mind?
If anything, like
Even if you
mentors?
had a mentor, I mean,
Nah, not even back then. Like it wasn't even something that I'd look for. Like I wouldn't even look for.
a mentor or somebody that you aspire to be like?
Nah, like
Yeah.
I think I was so content with myself
Yep.
that I didn't look at anyone and be like, "Oh, I want to go
Right.
be like that dude."
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
if anything, I was just too stubborn.
Yeah.
Like, nah, me as me.
Yes.
I'm happy with that.
I love that. I love that so much.
Obviously, it's still the same now. Like, I'm still like, I don't see anyone uh, around that I look at them and be like, "Oh, I want to be like that guy,"
Yeah.
or I want to have my business be like their business.
Yeah.
It's just not something that ever comes into my head.
So then going across to your 20s, when did you make the big decision to move to Australia? I'm keen to understand that.
Yeah, that was like a weird one. So me and like a few of my like best mates, like they've been my best mates since like primary, still even to this day. Um, but we went for like a boys trip to the Gold Coast, to the Gold Coast.
Because you have family in the Gold
Yeah,
Coast
yeah, we
too.
still like you still got we got a ton of family, but we just came for like a boys trip, and then we were talking to all the locals and stuff, and they were telling us about like how cheap it is to live here, and oh, if you get a job doing this, like you'll make this much, and we are just like,
Here as in Australia?
yeah,
Not just Queensland, not
just
just Gold Coast?
just in the Gold Coast where we were,
Yeah.
like yeah, don't ask me how, but just some of these houses that we'd end up in,
Yeah.
they'll just be like, oh, he's from New Zealand, like, oh, blah blah blah, that works with me, he's from New Zealand,
Yeah.
and they make this much, and the rent here is this cheap, and it just got us. We didn't think about it at the time. We're just like joke around with each other, like, oh man, we should move to Australia. Yeah,
And how old were you then by that time?
oh, I would have been 22,
Okay.
I reckon.
Yep.
Or nah, maybe even two. I think I was just about to turn 23
Yeah.
when we did that trip. And then we got back to New Zealand, and then I think we didn't bring it up for a few weeks. But then we got together one weekend, and then me and my mate, he was just like, "Bro, would you be keen to move to Australia?" I was like, again, I'm just like, if you want to go, like, yeah, I'll come with you. You know, like, let's go. He was like, okay, I'm gonna book the flights. I'm gonna book everything.
Had you spoken to your parents about that?
No, I was just like, well, you know what? Growing up, like my mum was she was in full like support of don't grow up, like don't live in New Zealand, like go live elsewhere.
Really?
My mum could travel the world like almost twice over, you know. Like
Gotcha.
she'd tell me stories of her living in Iceland or stories I don't even like want to hear, and she's just like, oh yeah, one night we're in France, and then I woke up in like Argentina, and I'm just like, I don't know that. But he was that type of person. Like he lived in London
Yeah.
for years, like which was again why she was like, don't live in Auckland. Like this is not all there is. Like go travel. She was always like a huge believer in traveling. Like and in my head, I'm really traveling. I just moved like to Australia.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
It's so interesting that she ended up in New Zealand, and I guess I wonder if that she stayed because of.
oh yeah, 100% she stayed because of my dad. My dad wouldn't move. Um, I remember. I think it was like 2010, like those years.
Yeah.
He wanted to move here,
Wow.
like to the Gold Coast.
Yes.
But like my dad was just like, nah, I'm not moving.
His life was there.
Yeah,
Mm.
fair enough. But yeah, and then he booked everything. So all I had to do was pay for my ticket. Now I think we were about 4 months away from Melbourne. And then we went out one night in the city, and then one thing led to another, and it was this huge like fight happened in the city.
This is in New Zealand?
Yeah, this was at Auckland. And then I tried to leave, and then I just got caught up with the police, got taken back to the station. And then I got caught on like CCTV, like with this, like injuring this guy. But then I had to go to court. I was just like, oh man, this is like, if I get charged with this, like this is me not
Your
moving
plans are,
to Australia.
Gonski.
So I was just stressing out about that for ages, and then I had like a lawyer like lined up to help me with the court, like New York case. And then the day before the court case, like he rings me and he's like, man, I'm not gonna be able to make it. And like with this happening, I tried not to let my mum know that
What had
this was
happened?
all happening.
Oh, she would have freaked out.
Yeah, so the morning of the court case, I was like, man, I'm gonna rock up to court with no lawyer, and I'm gonna have to get like legal aid. But I told my mum, I was like, man, I got like, sorry mum, but I have court like in a few hours, and my lawyer's pulled out. Is there anything you can do? And she was just like, I'll ring you back. And then she rang me back, and she's like, go meet Mike at the front of the courthouse.
Amazing.
Blah blah blah. I met Mike at the courthouse, and she's like, hurry up quickly, like run me through with what happened that night. And I told him what had happened that night, and he's like, well, mate, I'm reading this, and that's not what you're telling me. I was like, oh, well, that's how I saw it. He's like, okay, leave it to me. We got into the courtroom, and then even the judge was like, oh, Mike, what are you doing here? He was like, oh, just favor, like, for a friend. And I think that the court case was done in like 5 minutes. And I just had to like leave, and he was like, okay, you just got to go. I had to go to like AA,
Right.
like a few hours.
You had to do something.
Yeah. And he was like, but it's not going to go on your record.
Wow.
But the annoying thing is that they banned me from the CBD
Okay.
like 3 months. I
Right.
was like, I work here. Like, I'm leaving this courthouse. I'm going across the road, and that's where my work is. So I had to apply for like it's like a curfew.
Yeah.
I couldn't be caught
I see.
city like after or before
Certain time.
certain time. But yeah, that was like, oh, that was like one of the most like stressful like things. I was just like, man, like the dream of like moving to Australia is gonna be gone. It was just like a stupid
Broad.
one night. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Your mom affected everything.
they just still say me, you know, like, but that's just that's just mum. Just what it is.
Amazing. Super
But she's the
supportive.
same, like just her networks go like just so far with like everything that she's done.
Yes.
That I thought it was quite funny at the time.
Yeah.
And then it's typical of my mum. She's just like, why didn't you just tell me? Like, because she's not like,
Could have sorted it out a lot.
she won't judge me or anything for what happened. She's just like, you should have just told me.
That's so amazing.
Sorted it out. But yeah, went through all of that, got dropped, and then me and my mate, we hopped on the plane to Melbourne. Never been to Melbourne because we had decided it was going to be Gold Coast. We were going to move here because we were like,
Yes.
we've been.
Yeah. Why did you decide
We don't
Victoria?
know, honestly.
What?
We've never been there.
Did he book your?
Well, we're talking about it.
Yeah.
And he was like, are we going to Gold Coast or Melbourne? And I was like, yeah, up to you. And he's like, oh, we've never been to Melbourne. I was like, yeah, I know. He's like, should we just move to Melbourne? I was like, because we just had the whole mindset of if it doesn't work out,
You can always go.
we just go to Gold Coast.
Yeah.
Or we'll just go home.
Okay.
So we just, booked our flights to Melbourne, had nowhere to live.
Mm.
Like, we didn't even have, like, accommodation.
Yeah.
Hopped off the plane, and we were just like, okay, so what do we do now? Like,
Wait. How did you? So you came here to Australia with the intention of living.
because back then, like, even we had our TFN,
Yep.
and my bank account was already open before I'd even left New Zealand. Like, it was already open over here.
Who did that for you?
Me, oh no, I did it.
Oh, you
But
had
you
done that.
You just transfer your bank. I think Combank owns ASB
Oh, I didn't know that.
or something like that. So my ASB account just got transferred
Yeah. Yeah.
over to.
Look at you with your brain switching on, dude.
It wasn't switched on. It was just like I was just asking my mate my mate's the brains. He's the one who just has to have everything sorted out.
Like-
He's just like, make sure you do this, make sure you do that. I was like, yeah, sweet. But we landed with all of that ready anyway. But yeah, we hopped off the plane and we were just like, oh, so where do we go now? And then my mate that I hadn't heard from in years from high school.
Another friend.
Yeah, just another friend
Yeah.
rang me, and he texted me. He was like, "Oh, hey, bro, I saw on Facebook that you're moving to Melbourne." I was like, "Yeah, bro, I just landed," but he was like, "Where are you staying?" I was like, "We don't know." And he's like, "Bro," he rang me, and he's like, "Our flatmate from the UK just moved back to the UK. So if you and your mate want, you guys can come just share a room here." And I was like, "Oh, sweet, just send me the address and we'll come over."
That's incredible. Okay, so your friend from New Zealand lived in Victoria by the time you'd moved here
Yeah.
to Australia.
Yeah.
And so then they had an available room just on the day that you...
So I think it was that weekend his flat
right.
moved out.
Yeah.
But he had just come across, like, because I couldn't text him or
Yeah, you didn't.
on a plane. But yeah, and then just when we landed, and he was like, "Oh, you both can just share a room until you find something." And we were like, "Oh, okay, cool, send me the address." And then when we got to the house just happened to be like a K away from the shop that I was hoping to work at. Because I was like, "Well, I don't know the suburbs."
This is blowing my mind.
It was blowing.
How lucky you are.
Like, I know.
What?
So then my mate from the barber shop came over to the house, and he's like, "Oh, bro, the shop's just like 1K down the road." I was like, "Oh, sweet." He was like, "Yeah, just come on Monday." I was like, "Oh, yeah, sweet." And then it was just an eventful, we just drank every day. We're just like, we live in Melbourne, like, and I went to work like down the road, like, it was,
And you got a job there.
yeah, I got a job there like straight away.
So you applied, got the job on the spot?
Well, yeah, my mate, he was like, "Oh, my friend from New Zealand's moving over. He's a good barber, like, just, you should work here." And they're like, "Yeah, cool." Like,
So tell me, is that when you came up with Fades of Jay? Like at which point? Because you worked at this place.
it was weird, like, that movie Shades of Grey had just come out.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So, I don't know why, but I changed my name to, 50 Fades of
50
Jay.
Fades of Jay.
But then, I don't know, just as time went on, I was just like,
Drop the 50.
"Hey," yeah, I was like, this does not need to be in there. So I dropped the,
Good decision.
yeah.
50 Fades of Jay made sense though. There's supposed to one extra.
It was
Unnecessary.
I thought it was a witty name,
Yeah.
and so did everyone else, like, at that time. But then as, like, a year or two went on, I was just like,
You grew up and you were like,
"Well, I don't 50 in there."
that's incredible. And that's when you came up with that, I guess I'm going to call it a handle. That's when you came up with that handle after you moved to Australia, or did you already?
I had it in New Zealand as well.
Yeah, I see.
What I was teaching, like, that was,
Fades of Jay migrated with you.
yeah.
It's something you're not going to, you can't drop that now.
Yeah, I can't even drop it now. Like, I'm trying to think of other names, and I'm just like, nah, that'll do.
That's pretty good. So then you moved to Victoria, and when did you meet? Because I know when did you meet Manisha? So was it a year or two later? Let me guess. You guys got introduced by friends.
I was, no, oh man, she's gonna hate me, man.
She's gonna hate you.
She's gonna hate me. I think I'd been in Melbourne for like 3 weeks, and then she had messaged me on Instagram.
Yeah.
We just started talking, like, from there. Like, I followed her on Instagram first.
I see.
And then she messaged me on there. And I think it was like 2 weeks later, we just happened to be like in the same area.
Yeah.
So I met her like at my mate's house. Just a few of my mates from New Zealand that had moved over as well.
Right.
And I'd met her there, and then she pretty much learned everything about me like that night, because I hadn't seen my mates in years.
Yeah.
So we were just talking about all the old stories. And then she was just looking at me like, "What the heck, bro?
Yeah.
This is what you used to do?"
Still no judgment.
Yeah, still no judgment. No, she's good like that. And then I think I'd seen her like the next week. We went out for like, she came over in my house in Melbourne, because we were staying in like the city in Richmond.
Richmond, yeah.
It was just the best place to live. It was
central.
It was so good.
Yeah, the train's there, and
Yeah.
stone's throw away from the city if you needed to go. You didn't have curfew and going out to Melbourne City.
Nah, no curfew there. It was good. But no, and then I met her again like the next week, And then we started like talking like properly. And
Yeah.
then even my mates were just like, "Bro, you like talking to that girl again?" I was like, "Yeah," and I was like, "What?" Like, and then I think like a few months later, I decided I'd move there. Like I just moved to her house
Yeah.
out in Diamond Creek, like an hour away.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
You just hit it off. It just went.
yeah, like it just felt like the right thing like to do at the time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Love that.
and then I think ever since then, like literally since that day I moved there,
Did you go?
like been with her every single day
Yes.
since.
So so then you worked. I know you worked at that barber in Richmond, and then we had COVID hit us in late 2019, 2020.
Yeah. Well, I was still traveling to. Oh, I was in Hawthorne. I was still traveling to Hawthorne like the first year when I
Yeah.
moved there, and then she was just like, "Why don't you just find a job like 5 minutes down the road?"
Somewhere local.
Yeah, but I just didn't like changing like from the one place that I knew. Um, Eventually I did move. I did change jobs. And then yeah, I think COVID hit like 2 years after I was working there.
Yeah, that was tough.
And that
All
was
of that.
rubbish.
And I suppose then you guys were thinking about moving to Queensland. I mean, I think everyone was moving to Queensland.
Like
No Victorian wanted to live, no person in Melbourne who cared about a livelihood, who cared about earning money, who cared about freedom, wanted to live in Victoria by that point.
yeah. Well, I think it
Is
was
that how you
honestly it was mostly Nisha. Like
right?
if it wasn't for her, like and then COVID ended, like I probably would have just stayed in Melbourne.
Right.
But nah, she was just dead over it, and she was just like, "I'm not staying here." And I was like, it got to a point where I was like, you know what, like fair enough. Like,
Yeah. And can I ask you just when you'd said, had it not been for niche, you would have stayed in Victoria. For what reason?
I don't know. I think it was just the comfort of like I saw this as home
Yeah.
now, as much as all that stuff was going on. Um, and because I knew I could be busy, like
Yeah.
work, like when everything finally
Yep.
went away, I was like, oh, I'm gonna be very busy like when this blows over.
Yep.
Um, but nah, she was like, nah,
Out.
we're out.
Yeah. Yeah.
Fair enough. And you know what? We would have moved earlier if it was up to her or just me. Like, yeah, now
Holding me.
I look back on it now and it's like, oh, this is my dad again.
Really?
Like just being comfortable.
Yes.
So no, it was forever grateful that she wanted to move like
Yep.
that bad because it was that bad, especially like um, especially there. Not being able, and then she wasn't allowed to work either. I wasn't allowed to work.
Yeah.
So now that I say it out loud, I'm like, I don't know why we stayed there for that long. We should have just left way earlier. Nah, I'm grateful that she wanted to
Yeah.
up here.
And so we're here in your awesome studio. You moved up. And how long had it been? So you both moved across from Victoria, upended your family. The kids were only little. Probably maybe that's a better time to move the kids rather than say them being in high school. You guys had come to Queensland. Was it the same situation where, you sort of got here and you were like, okay, now we have to find a place to live. Now we have to think about how to get work.
Yeah. So see again, it's the same story. So I didn't even tell anyone in the like I intentionally didn't want anyone in the barbering scene per se to know that I was moving here.
Right.
So the day
Friends included?
yeah, like friends included, like that were
Yeah.
barbers. So we literally moved here, like got to our friend's house that we were living with up in Brisbane. And then I got a text like from one of the barbershop owners. I was like, "Hey, I heard you moved to Queensland. Like, would you be keen to come work at the shop?" And I was like, now I looked it up on the maps. Same thing, like the shop was like 5 minutes from the house. So I was like, I looked at Nisha and she was like, "Well, you're gonna go back to work already? We just got here." I was like, "Oh, I'll give it a week. Like, just at least give me a week and then I'll come." And that was up in Brisbane.
So had you set up a place to stay before you moved across?
Yeah, our friends like from Melbourne, they had moved maybe a couple of months before us,
Okay.
and then they got a place in Brisbane,
Yep.
and then we moved up and stayed with them for like 3-4 weeks.
Yep.
Just until we could find a place.
Well, that was
Yep.
pretty quick.
Yeah, well, I don't know, like we're very lucky.
You must be the
It's
luckiest person.
not it's
They
the
should-
same with her, like
The buzz.
the same thing. Like everyone was telling us, like, oh, it's
Mate.
impossible to find a house.
Yeah.
It's the market.
Because the
is
real
tough.
estate was going gangbusters. People were lining up.
And everyone was
to
paying
find
like
homes.
extra,
Yeah.
or they'll give like 3-4 months in advance.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then we applied for these places like after 3 weeks. And then we got accepted for like 2 on that day. So we were just like, oh, well, I guess we're moving. Like,
That's madness.
and they were like lucky enough that my uncle was working at Main Freight at the time.
Yeah.
And he held all our stuff from Melbourne at the depot just until we moved,
Yeah.
found the house. So,
Cost free.
and then when we found the house, and then my cousin, he helped us like move,
Nice.
and he picked up all the stuff. But again, very like we're just very, very lucky,
Yeah. Yeah.
very blessed, just grateful.
So here we are. Tell me about 1111 Barber Studios. What's happening? What are you doing in here?
Oh, it's like if anything, like this whole project was just to like make my parents proud.
Right.
My dad always, his whole life, he always like tried to pick up like a side thing to do.
Yeah.
Like he always wanted to break free per se.
Yeah.
And he would always have
From the 9 to 5, he always had other plans to do bigger things, or
he would have his job, and then he would always pick. You know how back in the day that had, like New Ways,
yeah, yeah,
Melaleuca, like
yeah,
he'd always pick up,
or Amway, or
those
something
sort of
like that.
things.
Yeah.
He'd always do something like that, and he was always like, "Nah, you're gonna be your own boss," and
Right.
blah blah. And so he always had those sort of aspirations to do that sort of stuff. And then even when he was last here in the Gold Coast, and he was helping Anisha with her company,
Yeah.
like I could just see the
fire in his eyes.
yeah, he was just like he's just like, oh, Nisha, like look at what you've created, like this is your own thing, you get to do it how you want to do it. And he was like helping us pack all the orders, and like I could just see it in him that he was just like, it was almost like this is what I wanted to do,
Yeah.
which was cool. Like it was cool to have him see that side of him, that side of him. But nah, this is just like almost like try and just make them proud, and they were such community people themselves,
Right.
so,
Yeah.
and I'd like to think that's what I'd like to do as well. As much as I try not to, I end up being in the community in it anyways, like when I say not to, I don't mean like not in like a help.
You're not like you're not avoiding it,
Yeah.
and you're neither planning towards it, but you know that you're always going to be in the
Yeah.
doing something.
I'm
with
not
the
trying to like
community.
show out as the community, I'd rather like if this place can help people, because all walks of life walk in here.
You're not going to say no.
Yeah. And if we can help anyone, like if this space can help anyone, whether it be me, family, the boys that work.
And what does that mean? So when you say if this space can help someone, what's an example of that? What might be
Even just work. Like there's people who don't have work.
employment? Yeah.
Like there's more opportunities, like people that want to do something else.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, do you want to do, oh, bro, I know the exact person you should talk to if you want to do that. Because you know what? That happened to me.
I was going to say, this is going back to when you were younger. Opportunities came your way. People said yes. People took you in.
Yeah.
You want to pay that forward and kind of
100%.
not forcing it forward, but if somebody comes your way and you happen to be an avenue for them, you're not going to get in the way of that.
100%.
Yeah.
And like sometimes it gets like overwhelming sometimes, you're just like, man, like when you want to help people, sometimes it just adds to your plate per se.
Yeah, gotcha.
And even when you try get the plate down, You're just like,
Keeps filling up.
it keeps filling up, but then you're just like at the same time, like you don't really want the plate to end because you're just like, well then that's no good to anyone.
Yeah.
Yeah. But sometimes trying to work it down, you feel almost like, this is what I should be doing anyway.
Yeah, I love that.
You should just be helping whoever, wherever, however you can.
Yeah.
You know? And I feel like, yeah, that's what my parents did. And if I can almost recreate that with this space,
Yep.
I reckon that's a good step.
Yeah, I love that. So 1111, do you have bigger aspirations for what you want to do aside from, say, owning your barber and shop? You've now moved to 3 employees in the shop.
Hmm.
Is this it for you, or do you have other bigger
No,
plans?
it's not like I'd love to open up like more, like multiple.
Okay. Yeah.
And almost, yeah, go further down the coast, but
Yep.
open a few more. I'd like to like almost branch out, not even just into barbering, but
Yes.
I can go back into like the teaching aspect
Huh?
with merch, like just multiple different things that we can branch into.
Yeah.
And it's just a good base.
Yeah.
Like we can just launch off.
Yep.
It's a really good starter.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, there's other avenues that you could definitely go into, almost like for lack of a better term, an academy for barbering, or even just something for younger people to, who aspire to be in your shoes.
Yeah.
There's an avenue there. As you say, there's an avenue for merchandise if people are, sort of interested in going down, if you're interested in going down that pathway as well.
Yeah.
Obviously, there's employment here if this gets bigger. And then, as you say, growing out and expanding out to other areas across Queensland.
Yeah.
For those who don't live in Australia, Queensland is a beautiful part of the country where it's always sunny. When they say perfect one day, beautiful the next,
Yeah.
is what they generally say about Queensland, not Melbourne. So you've got the weather, you've now got the dream of the studio. And so at this point you're loving life.
Yeah, it is. It's weird, like a lot of the things that you used to stress about, like yes, they're gone. Like if that stuff disappears, but then you stress pops
Other
up.
opportunities.
You're just like, okay, so we got to do this now. What's next?
Yeah.
Like my brain doesn't really stop. Like I'm almost at like a point. I was talking to one of my good friends, who owns like a few companies, and I was telling him, I was like, man, I'm just in this real weird spot where like I don't care about sport, which is just weird to me. Like I grew up watching
Yeah.
league every single weekend.
Yep.
Like I don't care about like just news, just music. Like all of that stuff's like null to me at the moment.
Yes.
And he's just like, yeah, you're in that mode of just how do we build this? Like what's next? And he was just like, but just if I can tell you now, just don't get stuck in it for too long. He's like, I got stuck in that for years.
Yeah.
He's like, yes, you enjoy the fruits of the business side, but then like it comes with a sacrifice, yeah. But at the moment, I'm trying to juggle the business and then like, of course, the family, and then also myself. Like I'm trying to juggle myself as well because sometimes I feel like I don't really get to like talk to me or hear me out. I'm just
Yeah.
always wondering or focusing on everyone else.
Yes.
I'm trying to not dabble too far down that path of being too busy or just being overflowing with my mind. What's like, we got to do this. But it's good. I got Nisha, so she's a very good reminder of telling me to relax. So it's been 8 months. How are you? You need to sit back, just take it all in, to still be proud of what has transpired with this now.
Yes.
Like, don't worry too much about the small stuff, you know.
Don't sweat the small stuff.
We're getting there. We're getting there.
Yes. I love that. It's this toggle with your inspiration to do bigger and better things, but it's also finding the right balance, that striking the right balance between staying centered yourself and obviously being there for your family and your relationships as well, because those are important to you. But at the same time, trying to you're still sort of thinking about your parents in the back of your mind, going, what would I be doing to make them proud? But you're already there.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
I know they would be proud.
Yeah.
I know they would be, like, it is, like, bittersweet, you know, like, when you finally do reach those points,
Yeah.
especially if they're not here.
Mm.
But yeah, I know they'll be
Definitely looking down. And no doubt your dad is throwing all the luck your way, because you seem to be getting it each time. And
he's I don't know why that stuff happened.
it's crazy.
But I'm grateful that it does. I hope
Yeah.
it keeps happening.
Well, I do too. You're in the lucky country.
Yeah.
So, you've doubled down on your luck by coming to Australia.
Yeah, no, it's awesome. I do wish I moved earlier, but that same thing. But it all happens for a reason. If I didn't move at that particular time.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you were young. You would have been, earlier than 20 years old had you come down.
Yeah.
It might have been a little bit tougher for you as well.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Even with this now, like, there's no way I would have had this with the my mindset
Yeah.
then.
Yep.
Like, this only, I feel like 100% this only happened because of where my mind went.
Yes. Yeah.
But
You're free flowing thinking. You weren't restricted in anything when it came to your life. At least you always believed in yourself and just thought, I've got to do what Jay wants to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I never set anything like concrete.
Yeah.
Yes, we'll do this. Like,
Yep.
let's open a shop.
Yep.
I teach all these students in the barber school, and then they'll all go on and open shops.
Yeah.
But never in my head would, and then everyone's always asking me, like, oh, when are you going to open a shop? In my head, I'm just like, it's just not
I love
what I want to do.
I love that. I've got one last question for you.
And
So if a coconut was success, what are the 3 layers that you would say would make that successful coconut?
okay, first layer would definitely be, you always, like, you have to be willing to learn. Like,
Okay.
I did not learn all of this just by luck, you know? Like, oh no, I take that back. I did learn this all by luck. I came into the circles of the right people at the right time, you know?
Right.
Otherwise, I wouldn't have opened this. Like, I wouldn't have done any of this without their sort of help, you know? Like, Nisha is like my biggest supporter. Like, she's the greatest when it comes to that. She's, since the day I've met her, why don't you have a shop? Why do you work for this person? So I've always had that in the back of my head, but
Yeah.
the people that I needed to listen to weren't around at that time.
Okay.
So I never took that on, but they came at the right time.
In different ways.
Yeah, now. Second would definitely, it would have to be, definitely like hard work, because, and you always have to have in the back of your head that sometimes, like, you're gonna have to be working for like 24 hours. Like, you almost have to tuck your clock away. Like, even now, like, I don't even know what days are. Every day feels like Wednesday. Almost gotta see it that sort of sense. Like,
Yep.
every day to me, like, it's just midweek. Well,
Still work to do.
yeah, what happened before is gone, and we still got heaps to do, like, coming up. Thirdly, I'm gonna say you're gonna need more than one coconut. Like, it's a full team effort. Like,
Yeah.
it's not done by yourself. Like, if you think you're gonna do it by yourself, you're gonna be stuck.
You need a team.
You need a team. Like, you need people.
Yeah.
You need other people. You can't just do it by yourself. I feel like that was my biggest problem. I thought I could do everything myself.
Yeah.
As soon as I started letting people in, everything just fast forwarded 5 years, you know?
Yeah.
Everything that I thought would happen, that's not how it transpired.
Yeah.
When you get a team and you have good people around you, that's when.
Trust that. Use
that's
that.
when, yeah. And you have to.
Yeah.
Don't be stubborn. Don't say no to everything. That was my biggest problem.
Right.
I didn't need help.
Yeah.
But as soon as I accepted help, oh man, I can't believe what happened. Like,
How life-changing your life.
it's like a light bulb moment for me. Like, is this what accepting help?
Yeah.
Time? But
Yep.
You just got to trust that the right people are there to help you.
Yeah. Yeah.
And maybe those people that did like offer me help before didn't have the right intentions. Hence I said no all the time.
Right.
And then when these people came into my life at this point and they offered me help, something must have drawn me to say yes.
Was it your gut?
It was probably my parents. Like, they're probably like, mate, you hurry up and do everything that we know you could have done.
Yeah. Yeah. So the 3 things for you are be willing to learn and listen to the people that have good advice for you.
Yeah. Especially people that are doing more than you.
Right. Those that have had the experience, that have been there before.
Yeah.
Yeah. Gotcha.
Oh, yeah. They're like little gold mines, and
Yeah.
you can learn 10 years of what it would take you to learn something. You can learn it in just a few weeks. Just
Yeah.
the way they put things, you know.
So it's kind of don't hold back. Be open to what people are teaching you.
Yeah.
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 They're definitely not always right.
Right.
Hmm.
And the second one is then just hard work, just
Yeah.
grit. Just,
Yeah.
you know, whenever you've got that work coming, take it, do it. Don't stop. But at some point, also balance. See if you can try and find the right balance for you.
Yeah. I feel like the beginning always has to be that hard work,
Yeah.
those long days, those.
Put that work in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know.
Can't be understated.
It can't be, man.
Yeah.
And you know, yeah. And hard working on the right things. People do hard work every day and nothing comes of it.
Yeah.
Like when you talk to people and they're busy, but they're busy doing nothing. Just doing nothing thing. Like,
Yes.
nothing that's going to propel you forward or is of any value to you. You know, you talk to some people, man, they're like, oh, man, I'm so busy. It's like, what do you do? It's like, oh, I had to run down and do this. And it's like, what is that? You're not doing anything.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of people get caught up in being busy, doing nothing.
Yep.
Like,
I love that. I love that. That's so important. And the third one is people.
yeah. And I love people.
Yeah.
I think that people are I don't know, I don't even know how to put it. I've always loved people. I love meeting new people. I love the people that are in my life now.
They've been the bedrock of your success today,
Yeah,
right?
just people. Yeah, but should always be open. Just meeting new people.
Yeah.
I feel like if you just stay with the same people your whole life, then nothing's gonna change.
Yeah.
Everything started changing for me when the right people were around.
It's a key thing, isn't it? The right people as well. Ensure you're surrounded by the right
The right people
that care about you.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, I'll never forget the day that it took us 3 weeks to set this up, right? Like, we had no power for the first 2 weeks, so me and my mate were in here hanging stuff up in the dark, like knocking walls down. Finally got power on in the last week, and then when we were setting up like the final part, I think it was the day before I opened, and I saw who was here, like in the room, I was almost the last people that I thought would be here. Yeah, then everyone I thought would be here wasn't there. It was
Interesting.
real surreal.
Moment to reflect on.
Yeah.
That's super interesting. Jay, that's been an awesome time with you. And thanks so much for being on Thirstee Coconut.
Nah, thank you for having me. It was a
Okay.
privilege. I'm grateful.